Summoned through the dimension of sound, people explore the musical world which they believe to be true. But there is a world, unheard by some, that is filled with stories of an unknown reality, a jazz side. Episode 11 of Tales from the Jazz Side is with blues harmonica player David Barnes. Taking on the job of producing a monthly podcast, writing it, recording it, editing it is a lot of work. And I'm not complaining, but it sounds like I am though. But with all of the work that's involved, I've found it to be the most invaluable kind of work. And why is because, in putting the show together, it's given me the opportunity to, one, get to know musicians that I've known for a while a lot better. Two, to connect with musicians. Some I knew of their work, but I'd never met them and I never really had a chance to talk with them extensively. And three, to discover and meet new musicians. And now that I have the chance, I go out and I listen to them play live and I explore their music. And it's just been an amazing experience for me. I've just learned so much. And interestingly, in this discovery, I found that there's a huge number of musicians out there that don't have their own websites. There's no MySpace page or LinkedIn accounts. There's very little about them on the internet. I mean, there might be some bits and pieces here and there. They might have a Facebook account or some YouTube videos. But the lack of internet exposure doesn't take away from the fact that they are indeed talented, adept artists and gifted innovators that influence and shape the direction of how we hear and experience music. And I am delighted to have this guest on the show today because he is an example of one such gifted musician. I met this intense, compassionate, self-effacing gentleman who had this subtle, wicked sense of humor many, many years ago when we both played with a singer-songwriter named Franklin McCare. And the McCare gig, or gigs, these were the real build your chop types of gigs, We play sometimes, lots of times, 7 days a week. And sometimes we play twice on a weekend. David had this positive energy about him all the time in those days. And even now, as we catch up on what's been happening with his career and playing over the years, it's still there. It's just the energy is still there. David's non-traditional approach to playing the blues has reawakened in me the fascination and love and respect for the blues. David's style and approach to playing the harmonica doesn't resonate with me in the typical fashion. As I had mentioned before, it's very non-traditional. It's not like the usual blues harmonica approach to playing. To describe it, I would say it has vibrant colors and dynamic tones that branches from the core of an artist whose personal journey of self-discovery guided him to identify his unique voice on the harmonica, the instrument that called to him to be played by him, the blues. Now, there is an internet full of descriptions of the blues, what it is and what it's not. I trust that this interview today will stir in you a desire to explore how and why this genre, the blues, is the connector to all of the music that you hear today. What's it really all about? I don't really know that. All I know is that if you just listen to it and relax and be open, you'll be surprised what you might find you like. Now, David has a Facebook page. and you can surf the web and find out more about the engaging Dave Barnes. But I'm going to make it easy for you, and I've posted some YouTube videos for you to view. Now, those of you who's paying attention, you know I write a blog that accompanies each podcast that gives you some details on our guests and some links where you can hear their brilliance. So, with that being said, join me now on Tales from the Jazz Side with my guest, David A. Barnes. My guest today is blues harmonica player David A. Barnes, a.k.a. Dave Barnes, and in his close circle, Tatum's dad.
Nice.
So, hi, Dave.
Hi,
Thank you for
sweetheart.
being a guest on Tales from the Jazz Side.
My total pleasure.
Okay. Well, you know, you and I, we go back a ways when we were back in the Franklin McCare days.
I seem to recall.
Yes. And usually, you know, with all my guests, I do like really serious research. I go way back, and I don't just Google and stay in the 1 to 4 tabs. I go way up in the 15, 20 tabs. You know,
Archival.
Yeah, I go way back in there.
We dig deep.
Yes. And I found at least 3 David Barnes. One's a harmonica player as well. I think the cat's name is Mad Dog Dave Barnes.
Never heard of him.
You
Sounds
never
like a bum.
Do you know him?
No.
No, you don't?
Is he from Australia?
I didn't go and start tabbing
okay.
more
So we
toward
did-
him. I was just concerned with you.
I think he may be. There's a lot of cats in Australia assuming my identity.
Wow, it's a lot of people on there. You know, we were talking a little bit earlier before we started that there's a lot of people.
With my name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
interesting.
It's great for my career.
Yeah.
My brand, because I'm worldwide.
Yeah, and,
you know.
and they're all musicians. And
Yeah.
I think all of them are like play blues or they play harmonica or slide guitar.
Or there's one singer-songwriter named Dave Barnes who's
Oh.
actually, pretty popular, kind of well-known. I think he just won a Grammy for one of the songs that he wrote, recorded by a country star. And I actually met him.
Wow.
I went, because interestingly enough, I Googled myself in a moment of self-gratification.
Right.
And found this guy. He was the first guy who came up.
Yeah.
And I listened to him. He's got a nice voice. He's very talented. I found out he was playing at the bitter end.
So you went to check him out?
I went to check him out.
Wow.
And it was great. And I went backstage and met him and
You guys talked and
introduced myself and said, "Listen, man, I'm the other David Barnes." I took out my driver's license to prove it,
Right.
And so we bonded over this great name that we both share. And I said, "Listen, I had to come down, check you out, make sure you are worthy of the name.
Right.
Dude, if you sucked, you'd be walking out of here
Seriously.
Johnny Barnes or
Seriously?
George Barnes, something else, because that was not."
That's
it was like,
true.
no, you can't bring me down.
No,
it's
that's
bad.
true.
It's bad for the Universal brand.
Yes.
you know.
The universal brand of all the Dave
All
Barnes
the Dave
that are out
Barnes.
there. So.
It's so funny.
Well, since I couldn't find a site for you on the web that had like all of your bio information in one place, I decided to go to Facebook, which I'm not a big fan of Facebook, but anyway, I went there and there was your bio, but it was the way it was it was like how you are. Okay, so it was your bio, but it was in pictures and in videos and in poetry. And
Yes.
it was really, I learned a lot about you just by going through your Facebook page. And
Yet
I know-
another ringing endorsement for the positive aspect of Facebook.
Oh, yeah,
ladies and
please,
gentlemen.
please.
It's not only a tool for destruction and the appearance of false rumors and lies.
Mm-hmm.
It's also where the true facts of just me exist. It's just me. Everyone else is lying. I'm the only guy.
Well, you have, I know your lovely sister, Donna Marie.
Yes.
And your beautiful wife, Elizabeth.
Yes.
We call Lizzie. And your amazing son, Tatum.
Yes.
So, and I know you have such a strong rah-rah for Tatum.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I'm a
why?
very proud father.
Yeah, and why is that?
Well, first of all, he's an amazing human being.
Yes, he is.
He's really, I say this as objectively as a proud father can get. So obviously it's not objective at all. But I had the pleasure of being a early edition of the full-time stay-at-home dad.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day, Lizzie had 6 weeks of maternity leave, and so I was responsible for raising Tatum, taking care of Tatum from the time he was 6 weeks old until he graduated high school.
Wow, that's interesting.
And of course, by that time, he was really sick of me being around, man. It's like, yo, dude, it's been a long time, you know?
Right.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing, though, for the father to be the one that raises.
We were cutting edge.
Yeah.
That was pretty good because, Lizzie has an incredible career.
Yes, she does.
As a psychologist, psychoanalyst. And I was, at the time, I was working as the photo editor for Emerge magazine.
Oh, God, I remember that.
Which used to be around.
That's
It was
right.
our voice in today's world, monthly news, magazine for black people to read and stuff. So I was in the photo game for a few years.
That's right.
And then we had Tatum. Emerge magazine moved to Washington, D.C. because it was bought by Robert Johnson of the BET empire. So they relocated, and I stood at the train station waving goodbye to that job. Said goodbye, Emerge magazine.
Right.
I'll be staying here.
Yeah. Now, are they still around? Are they still doing it?
No, that's something for throwback Thursdays.
Throwback Thursday. Well, now, besides you being a musician and a great one at that, I have to add that in. You're also a poet and an actor, okay? When I saw you about a year ago, and maybe it's a little bit longer, you were telling me about a project that you were doing in the village with activist political poetry. Remember you were telling me you were adding poetry and everything to it. Now, what I want to know, and when I was stalking you on Facebook, I saw this great picture. It was a very, very young you on the campaign trails holding a sign of Goldberg and Patterson.
Yes.
And so Basil Patterson was your godfather.
Correct.
Okay. And I want you to tell me a little bit about that period of time, to get in there, and if those early experiences actually, do you remember that project you were telling me about with adding because you're looking over here like, I don't know.
I think it might have been one of the other David Barneses out
it was
in the
you.
world.
It was you.
There's so many different projects that I've forgotten, but last year, I was doing something.
Or maybe it was a couple of years back, because it's been our paths crossed,
time.
But with lots of time in between,
Well, I was getting out there doing some blues poetry.
Blues poetry, okay.
That's really my thing. That's what I.
Okay, blues poetry.
Yeah, I tried to be a part of the tradition really established by Sterling Brown, who's one of my inspirations, an incredible poet who actually went to the same college that
that you went to, which was
Williams College,
yes,
Massachusetts.
Yes.
So he really had a profound impact upon me. I never met him, I never studied under him, but I just loved his poetry and I loved his sensibility, and my poetic vision or expression really comes out in this, what I consider a blues idiom.
Okay.
So although I'm not writing blues songs, a lot of these poems could
easily translate into a blues song.
I would think. I like to think so. I certainly, in my mind, in my mind, they're all good too.
Right, always.
I said, man, that was good, and I bet that would make a pretty darn good tune, man. So that's what I'm about poetically.
Yeah, and what brought you in that part? Just because of from school or
oddly enough, there's something that truly resonates in my soul about the blues, not just playing them, but identifying with them to an extent that I don't live them in any real material sense.
Right.
I'm a very comfortable, fortunate man. I don't have a lot of problems.
Okay. Yeah, because you're really chill.
I don't have.
Besides Michael Franks, you're probably the chillest cat I know.
You know what I mean? Well, that says something. That's cool.
Be angry or get weird.
That's really not my thing, and that's what I'm constantly working on, this evolution, this positive evolution. It's like I don't take this ego-driven stuff seriously, and I'm not stubbing my toe over these petty things like, oh, you didn't do enough research on how bad I am, and you didn't find out, so now I'm upset about that. Right. That's not what I'm about. Yeah. So everything is pretty chill with me because I'm very happy. Yeah. However, I still find I have this relationship to the blues. It's not, you don't necessarily have to be in the gutter to know what it's like to be in the gutter. I've been way down. I mean, I know the blues. I've lived the blues. It's not a lot of common knowledge for a lot of people because, I live a full life.
Right. Right.
But it's internalized. Yes. You know what I mean? So I deal with stuff and with pain and disappointment throughout my life, but that doesn't define who I am or how I interact with the rest of the world. I'm a positive.
Yeah, you really are. Now, I remember when you started playing the harmonica. I think I remember the first time. Was the first time you started really playing? Was it when we were working with Franklin, or had you been kind of dabbling in it a little bit and then you
I started playing when I was 13.
Oh, okay.
So that was, and I started playing with you and Frank. Well, I started playing with Franklin. I first saw Franklin. This is Franklin McCare.
Right. Songwriter, singer, guitarist, just great artist.
Really, he was my original American Idol.
Yeah, someday, at some point, I'm going to have him on the show too.
Yeah, I would think so.
Oh well, yeah, I will.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I know, this is why I've got to up the show.
That's another story.
I know, I've got to up the show to like 2 shows a month now because the list keeps getting
longer.
I'll never get
longer.
through them. I know, and I keep thinking, oh yeah, I got to put him on. Oh yeah, I got to do. And then I run into you. Oh, you've got to be on the show. I know.
Well, I figured that the waiting list was going to be months long, and it was like, okay, how about next week?
Yeah, no, I just
I said, damn, V must have run out of all.
Well,
no, friends to put on them.
Well, I just kind of thought it would be really nice to have this segment in here because it deals with blues, and we'll a little bit later on I'm going to bring up that blues and jazz thing. But anyway, with Franklin, you had started playing at 13, so you played with Franklin before.
Yeah, this is the story with Franklin. When I was growing up, the drinking age in New York was 18. Mm-hmm. So that meant there were certain bars on the Upper East Side where you could drink at 17, no prob, with no fake ID or anything like that. So that was what I was into at the time. Mm-hmm. And I fell in with my high school friends into a place called Brandy's on
Brandy's.
84th Street between 2nd and 3rd. Yeah. And there was this cat playing just vocals and guitar. Mm-hmm. And it was Franklin McCare. And the first time I saw him, I was so blown away by just the amount of talent that this one man had that I said, when I grow up, my ambition is to play with Franklin McCare.
Really?
I swear.
I didn't know that.
So I was playing the harmonica for about 4 years. I could get a little wah-wah going.
Right.
I was still really, no clue, but I had gone from your basic Bob Dylan through the Neil Young at that time, Harvest album had just come out, so there was a couple licks that I could do on, Heart of Gold, do 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 do. Right. So I was like, all right, so I'm cool. Then War was hot, so Lee Oscar was playing some serious harmonica, and I was trying to grow into that so I could, do a little Cisco Kid riff or something like that. Yeah. I was trying, so I had learned how to bend a note, so that was cool. But with Franklin, he had one song, Bring It On Home to Me, Sam Cooke, Bobby Womack, and he would play it, and I had the right key harmonica. And he would be on stage, and he would just start playing softly. And I would sit at my table and
wow.
And so that was my huge thrill. And as time went by, my table got closer and closer to the stage. It was like, yo, dude, what's happening? It's like, it's like, it's like red light, green light, 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden it's like, yo, dude, man, you're getting closer and closer. Next gig, boom, there I. So I was right up there.
Wow.
And finally, I got on the stage for that one tune, and the story is that he was trying to get me off the stage ever since.
Right, no.
Because it was like,
it was such a great addition. It was such a great addition.
It was nice.
To
it was work. It was good
really
work.
was. Now, I know, sometimes people get confused sometimes when we start talking about blues and jazz, I remember I worked in Tower Records a long time ago, and at some point they made me the blues buyer, okay, because whatever, I don't know why, because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have a clue. But what I did remember was, first of all, I love the names. They had such great names, but there were also a lot of blind players that were in there. And I just put down a list right here, seriously, of some of there were blind Joe Reynolds. Teddy Darby was blind. Roosevelt Graves was blind. Sonny Terry, who actually Michael Franks worked with, which I didn't realize until Michael told me long time. Reverend Gary Davis, he was blind. And then the names: Blind Mamie Forehand, Blind Boy Fuller, Blind Willie Johnson, Blind Willie McTell, Blind Blake, Blind Lemon Jefferson. And so I said, well, let me see, why is there, and I was curious, why is there so many blind blues players and gospel players during that time? And so this, I think, is a part of like some of the history lesson that we get in. And this is, I'm sure that some people just said, well, if you were blind, you're sad. So you're gonna, you can't see, you're really sad, so you're gonna play the blues. But that actually, as you're saying, you don't actually have to be sad to play the blues.
Right.
But at that time, if you
you have to be sad to be blind, though. I think initially
you have to be sad to be blind.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, all right, maybe not. I don't know.
But in any case,
no connection.
It was hard to work if you had a handicap,
profoundly,
especially early in those days.
And look, if you were black and blind,
yes, oh yeah, well,
those are two profound strikes against you. So who said? Somebody, there's some famous quote that will mangle, but it's like, being born black, it's like, what the fuck? Playing the blues is like being black twice or something. Right,
right.
So born blind and black is like,
really
it's like you're in a deep hole.
Yeah, you seriously.
But interestingly enough, at that time, black people only had a certain amount of perceived value, and that was mostly as a source of labor.
Right.
So if you're blind or some other way handicapped, your worth, your value is non-existent. Yeah. So that means now you are a drain upon whatever local economy or wherever you live or whoever's taking care of you or that type of thing. So they were trying to, as I understand it, one skill that they could provide blind people. It's like, well, at least learn some music.
Yeah.
And then these cats were going out, doing their thing, playing that music and making a living.
Yeah.
Look, they couldn't work the fields.
Right.
So they were making money, so at least people, they were not totally dependent on other people.
Exactly. And, there's like out of that, I started doing more research on, at the time I was aware of it, but it wasn't as clear to me as it is now. But there was the Delta Blues, which has more harmonica and steel guitar, right?
Okay.
That's out of the Mississippi, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then there's a guitar that they talked about, cigar box.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one of those?
A friend of mine makes them.
Wow.
Yeah.
They take a cigar box.
Yeah.
No, seriously, right?
What you do, you take a cigar box, you cut a hole in it, that's like the sound hole, and then you stick some sort of mop handle or something like that up in there to the other thing, and that'll be like the neck of the guitar, and you take some wire that you take off a fence or something, and you and that's a cigar box.
Have you played with somebody playing a cigar box?
Nah, I don't know shit about that shit, man. I don't know nothing about that.
Well, that they had the Delta Blues, and then they had the West Coast Blues, which has more of the jazz and the up thing, and then there was that East Coast, which was from the Piedmont
Blues. That's
right?
A lot of good finger picking guitar and some great harmonica playing. I guess the most recent and greatest example of Piedmont Blues would be John Cephas and harmonica Phil Wiggins.
Oh, okay.
Great duo. I mean, and that was straight up Piedmont Blues, and harmonica Phil Wiggins is just a monster.
Wow.
On that harmonica. He's one of those people just go around and constantly hurt my feelings.
Really?
Damn, man. Why you want to be so good? Damn, harmonica Phil. Like, no wonder that, you got a guy who's named harmonica Phil Wiggins.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's like, well, okay.
They stuck it in the front.
It's like,
yeah, it's got to mean something.
It's like, oh, okay, I guess you good. You really good. Harmonica, there's no doubt about it.
Well, the thing, though, that I find about you and playing the blues harmonica, which I always love your approach to the instrument. And to me, it never, like sometimes when you hear blues cats play the blues harmonica, from the very get-go, they start wailing,
Right.
And you construct solos. You find a beginning place in which you started, and you build and you develop. It's very much like a jazz solo improvisation, and that to me is very, very unique. I love that about you. And what I wanted to know is, okay, you were saying that you started playing at 13, and you are basically self-taught, right? Oh, completely. You didn't go to like a harmonica
the conservatory.
Right?
Except for the years that I spent
college.
overseas at the conservatory.
Play
blues. Yeah.
Well, what... I know you said that you have a strong affinity for blues, but what drew you to wanting to play the harmonica per se for the inside blues?
Interesting story. This is the very truth of the matter.
Okay, whereas everything else was a lie.
Everything. It's like, I will answer your questions, but I will not tell the truth. True story. This is the deal. Back to school shopping with my mom. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the Bronx.
Okay.
We had a nice groove. Now, I was a good kid growing up, and I'm a good kid now. But I had a deal, like standing deal with my mom. We would go out shopping for like back to school stuff, mm-hmm. and it'd be like, yo, don't drive me crazy. If you're good, at the end of this experience, you get some pistachio nuts.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. Okay,
which is really big now. Pistachio nuts.
It was my fave back in the day. So we would go to Fordham Road in the Bronx, where they had an Alexander's department store.
Yep.
So that's where we would pick up my new shirts and stuff. And so in this particular day, I was really good. I was cooperative, and we got the stuff. And then, see, the thing is, you go downstairs to the subway.
Yes.
That's how we got home, right?
Yes.
And on the final level of Alexander's, there were little shops, and one was a little nut store. And we would go. That's where my mom would get me my little quarter pound of red salted pistachio nuts. You know,
your fingers are all
man,
red.
all red. Your lips are red, and you're on
you're thirsty afterwards.
Salt high. So, man, here I had angel's wings on, and we do all this stuff, and we go down to the nut store, and the nut store was closed.
Oh.
Yeah, so, you know, this was an incredible betrayal of, you know,
how was that?
the universal
exactly.
the universal deal
Yes.
that I had with Mom. It's like, yo, Moms, what?
Yes.
I mean, what does this mean?
Yeah.
So I was
everything
like,
was out of balance.
I could have, you know, at that moment, I could have just turned to a life of crime because, like, all right, you know, later for this being good thing, because guess what? There's no pistachio nuts at the end of that rainbow. You know what I'm saying? I said, so later for that. So it was closed. So my mother did some quick thinking. Next door to the nut store was a tiny little music shop. So she said, well, let's go in here and see if there's something that you want. And that costs about the same amount as a quarter pound of pistachio nuts, which I think was about $3.25.
Which was a lot if you at that time. I mean, that's
absolutely.
A lot,
And that's when I got my first harmonica.
Really? What key? Do you remember what key it was?
I believe it was probably in the key of C. It was a Hohner vest pocket harmonica. So it was only 2.5 inches long.
Right.
You know, it was a little bad boy.
Right.
But that was it.
Wow.
That was it for me. And I would like to say I never ate pistachio nuts again. But that's not true.
That's
I mean,
true.
it was like,
no. Okay.
But I took that little harmonica and went into the basement of my house.
Wow.
And I started wailing on that thing night and day.
Wow.
I could only do, you know, at first I could only do basic Bob Dylan, which is just blow, you know.
Right. In, out,
Take
in,
a,
out,
take a,
in, out. Right, in, out, in, out.
in, out. Take a bunch of chords. And so my first thing I was doing was like, bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. But I'm talking about 6 to 8 hours.
Oh.
My parents are
like,
upstairs banging on the floor. Will you shut up with that damn harmonica?
They probably regretted that.
Like,
So they probably went to find the owner of the pistachio show.
But that was it. Man. That's what I did for hours and hours. Just that thing. And at that same time, I went to my first live concert with my sister Donna Marie. We went to see John Sebastian.
Oh, wow.
This was like just after the Lovin' Spoonful
Yeah,
broke up
out,
or something like.
awesome.
So he was doing his
own solo thing.
Right. You know, wearing the tie-dyed shirts, the tie-dyed pants, and every so often he would break out this harmonica and just wail. And so that's, you know, I said, "Oh, this is some bad stuff." Right. He had a tune called the Happy Harmonica that was like, it was at the time it was the equivalent of juke, and whammer jammer to me, because I had no idea that those tunes even existed at the time, and just blew me away. And I said, "All right, that's another link in the chain. So let me go get on it." Right,
it was like fate that led you to that, and you know, in a way, it was like a lining up of the universe.
If the pistachio nuts were available, I would never have gotten a harmonica, and then my life would have been.
So you owe a lot to the guy who was unable to pay the rent and stay in the place.
Or maybe, you know, he might have died that day.
Right,
I don't
maybe
know.
that's it. Yeah, whatever it is.
I don't
But
know.
that circumstances. Well, that's a great story. That's an excellent story. Now, you know, your unique way of playing has put you in the arena with some really heavy hitters. They say we say here in the
Yes,
blues world.
It's very true.
James Blood Ulmer.
Yes, indeed.
Michael Powers, Tomás Doncker.
Yes. Michael Hill.
Michael
Hill's Blues Mob. Yeah, a lot of cats. I play with a lot of really, really interesting cats.
Well, some of the names of some of the guys I was trying to, because I know you're on a lot of records. You're on quite a few.
Yes, I am indeed.
You are. You have, but it's just but it's so weird because
I'm quite the impressive
I had to go.
And the best part about it, that and a Metro card gets me a ride on the subway.
No, I'm just trying to say that I had to go through all of these things to find out if it was you, the Dave Barnes, or it was another Dave Barnes. And it is very impressive. You play on a lot of CDs, and there's a lot of really great videos of you on YouTube playing. So I do suggest people to check that out because, I always think of artists and musicians and very creative people and how their careers can be, so many people don't really know them per se in that sense, but the music that they play and what they create is this is so powerful that it affects like a whole space. Even though people might not realize it, there's like a whole world of music and art that we never even touch at times because we're either, used to listening to a certain type of music or it's not presented. Right. I mean, is there like a blues radio station that really plays eclectic blues, or is the stations the same as kind of some of the other stations that play,
Well, let's put it this way. I've only heard myself play on the radio once.
Wow. In
my life. And surprisingly enough, it sounded just like listening to, the CD in my car or in my house.
Okay.
It was like, it's on the radio.
Yeah.
I expected. I'm from, I'm old enough to, identify with the new artist coming out. You hear your radio,
yes.
you hear it on the first time, and it's like, oh my
I know,
God.
and you go crazy.
You go crazy. You drive around and crank it up. Listen,
right,
to
this
me
is
on the
me.
radio.
Yeah.
Well, now with technology, it's like, it sounds just like when I listen to, myself. When I listen to the album, on my phone.
Right.
So the thrill was gone.
Yeah, and it's so accessible from all other media,
right.
like other network things. It's on iTunes. People can listen to it on. I mean, it's just there are radio stations that play that aren't over the air, but they're in the internet. That's probably playing you a lot.
Yeah,
but you don't know.
That's
certainly. I mean, it is. But
somebody's probably playing my tunes right now.
Yeah,
on some radio station.
Well, they should be playing your tune. Now,
BGO is the only.
Yes, that's right.
They have a blues hour.
Yeah, WBGO.
But I don't get on there very often.
I'm gonna have to talk to some people there.
Listen, Michael Bourne's an acquaintance of mine. We went down to Barbados, the first Barbados Jazz Festival.
Really?
Together. Yeah, it was for me. I was still working at Emerge, and it was a little boondoggle.
Wow.
So Lizzie and I went to Barbados, and Michael Bourne was there. So we hung out for 4 or 5 days.
Wow. Have you talked to him since then?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You send him some emails. You stop by in Jersey and go, hey, man, how you doing?
I never stop by in Jersey.
And then you hold the CD up.
I do. I send him a little, yeah. It's like, whatever. That and a Metro card gets me another ride on the subway. He's like, yeah. So, yeah, thanks. Okay.
Well, what are you working on right now?
July 8th, we're having a CD release of this incredible project. The Tomás Doncker Band has a Howlin Wolf project.
Yeah, I was reading about that.
And,
what is it? What's that?
It's called Moanin at Midnight. And what Tomás has done is he's got an incredible roster of musicians that worked with him. So he decided to take, with respect, take on the great Howlin Wolf.
Wow.
And so we're doing 9 9 Wolf tunes, 9 classic Wolf tunes, and 1 original.
Okay.
Of Tomás.
And that's going to be released July
8th.
8th. And you guys having a party, listening
We're
party
having
thing?
a party on July 11th. Technically July 12th. It's at the Blue Note. It's midnight, 12:35.
Right, howling at midnight, man. You know what I mean?
So that's why we're doing it. So
yeah.
we're moaning at midnight.
Wow.
But it's an incredible project. It's really, really something I feel very proud to be a part of. And the older I get, personally, I feel like I've become more confident in the space that I occupy musically. This is, as we say, it's very harmonica forward.
Yeah.
To coin a phrase, it's very fashion forward in a harmonica sense. It's really there, the top notes, the initial flavor burst is there, and then a nice strong finish with hints of blueberry and leather.
Well, I think and that's around your birthday too, right?
Yes, it is.
Birthday coming around. I'm not going to ask you how old you are.
I will tell you. I will be 56 years old on July 5th.
July 5th, same day. My mother's birthday is July 5th.
Really?
Yeah, was. Her birthday
same
was.
Date as Big Ed Sullivan's grandmother's birthday.
And Travis's mother is July 5th.
Dang,
yeah.
So I'm hanging out with all right.
Bunch of cancers. I'm around a bunch of Cancerians.
Cancer.
You're so maternal and so
listen,
feeling
it
and
is
deep.
It's really true. My life is all about being a Cancer man because all this, nurturing and being full-time dad, being a full-time house husband, doing the cooking, all that.
Very nurturing and
nesting type of groove.
Emotional support.
I don't want to talk about. About that part. Why'd you have to go there? God.
I'm sorry. We're the Kleenex.
This podcast is over.
No, not yet. Because I want you to go down into the basement with me.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Tell us. The Kleenex are actually behind me. It's like
very handy.
Tell us about someone you've worked with who was a little frightening to you, but in a good way.
Hands down, the only person that could be my answer is James Blood Ulmer. All right. So this is the deep end of the pool.
Okay. Do I have to bring the Kleenex over to
you?
No.
This is all good.
Okay.
This is all good. Here's an interesting story. If I can just take the
please go.
longer.
This is
interesting story. So I play with a lot of people. Michael Hill and Michael Hill's Blues Mob, cornerstone of a lot of the stuff that I do, and I've grown incredibly as an artist through working with Michael. Mm-hmm. However, interestingly enough, it's through Michael that I met Tomás Doncker. Mm-hmm. It was through Michael that I met Vernon Reid. We were doing, there was a benefit for Hubert Sumlin at B.B. King's called Howlin for Hubert. This was after he had some medical problems where people were trying to raise some money to help his financial situation. Michael Hill invited me to appear with him on stage at B.B. King's. Wow. Which was cool.
Right.
Play the blues, right? Mm-hmm. Also on stage at that time, Michael Hill's good friend and, Black Rock Coalition brother, Vernon Reid.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the first time I met Vernon. We play, that's cool, blah, blah, blah. After we get off stage, Vernon Reid comes to me and says, listen, man, I'm working on a project. I'm about to start a project with James Blood Ulmer, and I'm looking for a harmonica player.
Wow.
And he said, look, I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Well, whenever.
Right.
Time goes by. Finally, I get a call from Vernon. He said, "Look, man, come on down to such and such studio. I want you to meet Blood. Play a little bit." It was like basically my audition, type of thing. And so I said, "Cool." I went down, met Blood. In fact, I took Tatum. We were talking about it last night because I had to pick Tatum up at school. He was about 10. Took him down to the studio. He hung out in the control room. He had his workbooks. He was doing his problem sets and stuff. And I was out there, just playing some blues. And I met Blood. And my first time, Blood is he lives in his own type of universe. He's a bad man, incredible musician from South Kakalaki. So, it takes a while to really understand what Blood been saying to you. So, so my name in Blood's mouth is Debon. Debon. Don't take a genius to play the blues, Debon. I swear to God, that's what he told me one time. Don't take a genius to play the blues, Debon. Debon. So he dug it. He dug it enough. Look, next thing I know, we are going to Memphis, Tennessee to record the first album in Sun Studio.
Wow.
It's called Memphis Blood. That's why the band is called the Memphis Blood Band. Right. Because we started, our first record was recorded in Sun Studio, March of 2001.
Wow.
That album, Memphis Blood, was released on September 9th, 2001. 2 days later was 9/11.
Right.
6 weeks later, the record company went out of business.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because everything after 9/11, everything stopped.
That's true.
Nobody was buying records. No one, the world was profoundly changed. So we had no record company behind us to promote. We had nothing
tour
to
support and all that stuff.
that whole thing.
Yeah.
We got that first one got nominated for a Grammy, so that generated some stuff.
Right.
I believe the great blues artist Maria Muldaur won that particular year, and that was the extent of my my Grammy Award.
Right. Well,
proximity.
Hey,
he was like, "Oh, a Grammy nomination and a MetroCard also gets you a ride on the subway." That's cool. No, that's cool. That's cool. I got a T-shirt though. I bought a T-shirt.
Okay.
It's out there. It's out there. In my closet.
Oh, you don't put it in a frame, man. You got to put it in a frame.
We didn't win. It's not. My name's not on there.
Right, but still, that stuff you could throw out anytime. Yeah, I was on that Grammy-winning, CD album.
Yeah, my question is now because I played on that album, and that album got nominated for a Grammy.
Right.
Does that mean that I'm a Grammy-nominated harmonica player? I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't know the rules. You know what I mean? I mean, Blood.
Well, I think it depends
Blood
on what it
Vernon
was nominated for. If it was nominated for the best album, then yeah, because you actually helped make the record. But if it was just
not best blues, it was never going to be best album for crying out loud.
I know, right? Do they even have
Christ,
do they have blues or jazz at all on Grammys? I don't know. I don't remember. It's been so long. I know they're totally cutting out soundtracks.
Yeah, that's good.
Damn,
man.
What is it? Not the soundtracks, but the other one, scores. I don't think they give best music scores.
Yeah, because they end up giving it to the same dude every year.
Well, yeah,
whatever.
exactly. You know what I mean? Like there are no composers out there, right?
They cut out the polka category because the same dude was
winning all of it, right? It's
36
like
years.
The pan flute.
Yeah.
That cat, man, what's his Zamfir? I mean, hey, look, he since the time he started to
lock
now,
it down.
Right.
We got this. No, I got it. I got another Emmy, Grammy, whatever they call them.
So now, what was the frightening thing that was, because you were going around, you know?
The frightening thing was this. Number one, because I don't understand everything that Blood says. So that there's that.
Right.
So in terms of the song that we're going to play next,
right.
Sometimes I wouldn't know.
Right. You would call it out, but you wouldn't know what it was.
Come on. All right, so here's the frightening thing. So the album came out 2001. March 2002, Blood takes me and Aubrey Dale, who played drums with Blood for many, many years, and Mark Peterson, great bass player, also played with Blood many, many years, and me go as a quartet to Ann Arbor, Michigan, the Hill Auditorium at U of M to open for B.B. King. Wow. First time I've played with Blood since we played in Memphis to record the album.
Okay.
So I didn't really know the ins and outs of playing with Blood.
Right.
Like play the song in a different key that you've worked on. You know, it's like, oh yeah, like that stuff like shifting on the fly.
Yeah.
Aubrey and Mark, they're like, oh yeah, he does that all the time.
Right, because I was out. That's when you played, when you're out on the road. It's the road playing,
like, whatever. You know, it's like, okay. And they're just like, oh, they just shift.
Right,
no
exactly,
problem.
right.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
gotta go.
I got a suitcase full of harmonicas. So,
different
no, that's not it. Boop, boop. No, that's not it. Boop, boop. So this is what happens. We are on stage. Beautiful auditorium.
Right.
In fact, this was the final gig before they closed it down for 2 years to renovate it. Or at least that's what they said. I mean, maybe because they said, you know what? No more music in this place. After that shit. Oh, hell no. We're shutting this whole thing down. So, one tune, I don't even know what the tune was. I certainly didn't know what key it was in. Right. So I'm at my harmonica case doing the no, trying to find it. Nope, can't figure it out. It's in the key of X. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Next thing I know, as I'm trying to figure it out, Blood says, "They bone solo." Okay. So I don't know what key to play. I don't know what key the song is in. So I just literally grab any harmonica and I take the biggest breath and do the biggest chord I could do. It's just like, I said, yo, the right note is in there somewhere. It's up to you to go find it. And I held that thing until I almost passed out. Didn't move from that initial chord. And that's it. And people clapped. They said, "Oh man, that's so deep." Because Blood is so out there. It's like, that makes sense to have somebody. Man, he was that in the key of X? I think it was.
Right. That's like avant-garde post-jazz or post-blues, avant-garde blues. Yeah.
But I was terrified because I mean, that's not the way I really want to. That's not the space I want to occupy. I don't want to occupy that. I don't know what key it's in. I don't know. I was still deep into the fear of the wrong note. Right. At that time. That was 2002, 12 years ago.
Right. And now, that's what
now I don't care about
Blood too, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Wow.
So that was my terrifying, profound moment. In fact, I still wake up
So
in
now
a cold
that's all.
sweat.
Now this could also be the answer to the third question.
Oh, well, that's the way I intended it.
Man, why do you go backwards going forward?
Sorry, what? Sorry, go ahead. No. But
you included two, so that's good.
Okay.
You included the frightening, someone who you've worked with that frightened you in a good way. You've already included that. And then you answered 3.
The terrifying moment, too.
Right. You answered that, which kind of is combined, which in a way can happen.
That's the way my life is.
That's how your life is. You combine it. All right, so let's go to question 2.
Okay, which is what?
Which is, and you may have answered that when you talk about
sure
dreams. What is the scariest work in any medium, and painting, photograph, dreams, books, movies, television shows, whatever, that you've encountered?
This one is easy, and it has nothing to do with James Blood Ulmer or Michael Hill, or it has nothing to do with music, as it turns out. The most terrifying time was the time I spent trying to be a playwright. I actually, along with the poetry that I was writing, along with the paint, that's my I paint. That's no problem. It was like, I haven't done it in a long time, but I paint in a minute. That was like nothing. I don't,
Right.
Get the paints out. We're all creative.
We smoke.
Hello, it's like, okay, I'm gonna paint something.
Right. We're
feel
so
no pain.
profound when it. Yes.
However, I spent a long, time as a young adult trying to become a playwright. Okay. I had written a musical, the book to a musical, when I was in college, and that was very well received. And that was my goal when I came back to New York. Before Lizzie and I got married, I said, before Tatum was born, it's like, all right, I might have to have a job or whatever, but I'm going to try to knock these things out. Yeah. So I'm writing plays. I was writing plays, and then I started studying with people. I am really good at writing the first 8 pages of a play. I would kick ass. First 8 pages, get to page 9, and that was like, oh.
It was like the end.
Throw me in the toilet. This is bad. I studied with literally some of the best, greatest playwriting teachers in the city of New York.
Wow.
For years, and I stumped them all. Stumped them all.
Really?
Can you help me? Sure I can. Judging on these 8 pages, you have great talent. Come on, join my class. Do it. Damn. How about this? Here's my full-length play. Oh, no.
Oh, wow. So what do you think it was? What do you think
it was my fear.
Yes.
It was my fear of dealing with the truth, my truth.
Oh, interesting.
I was clinging too tightly to my truth because, people say write about what you know. Well, I knew a lot of shit that I couldn't feel comfortable writing about.
Right.
Either because, people were still alive.
Right.
Or,
right.
Or people were still alive.
Right.
Or I was married to people who were still alive and shit.
And you couldn't change the name to protect the guilty? The innocent?
Apparently not. Because in my attempt to do so, it got into this really sucks. This is profoundly. Now, Lizzie gets upset with me when I start talking about my past work because she she lived with me,
yes,
and supported me during that period of my life. And she's like, she doesn't like to hear me talk badly about my plays,
right?
Or some of the plays, but they all sucked.
Right.
They all sucked. I mean, I wrote one. I did one act play that was actually performed in the world, and it was good. I could do short stuff.
Yeah.
But that full-length thing where beginning, middle, and end,
yes,
and that the beginning is good, the middle is interesting, and the end is really, boom, great.
Right.
Nope.
Wow.
It was really bad. Also, I was trying to do it during the time that August Wilson was alive and writing, the greatest theater since Shakespeare, perhaps. So, any good idea that I had that was vaguely resembled some.
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah.
August Wilson fucked up my shit again.
Right.
Damn, man, I had that idea, right, baby? Remember that? I had that idea, that same thing. Now I can't do it.
Right.
Damn, he messed me up so much.
Right. Well, now he's gone, and are there such thing as writers of plays anymore? I'm sure they are, right?
There's a lot of very talented
great ones, but you never get to
people.
see them a lot
They're
of
young.
times.
There's a whole new generation of young people doing very exciting things.
Yeah.
But I can't be a part of them anymore. I just can't do it. That's something I just had to accept.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe at this particular period of time, who knows? I mean, our voices, we discover parts of ourselves with voices, or we let go of certain things.
Yes.
When you reach a certain age, I know for me, I have moved into a period where I have let go of so many things that were important to me, but it was in the way. It just got in the way, and it all is almost always around fear. Fear is that thing that disguises itself, or at least our minds disguise it in so many different subtle ways, and and then we call it blah 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 blah. But when you just break it down, it just is that raw thing. Now, do you like scary books and movies?
No.
And television. You don't like any?
No. Hell no. Honestly, the last scary movie I ever saw, The Exorcist.
Really?
In the theater. So what's that, 70?
Wow.
75?
Wow.
I don't play that shit.
It's interesting because almost everybody I've interviewed so far, they're not into scary movies, or they don't like them, or they don't watch them, and it's very fascinating. I think I'll have to sum up and separate in the show the one person so far that actually would actually the question number 2 was actually valid. So I have to probably change my questions now, because no one, they go no, or they go, oh no, I'm not afraid of any of the stuff like that. So okay, well, we could go back to the question 3. Would you say that experience of trying to find the right harmonica was the scariest thing that ever happened to you while performing live? Or
that moment was the pinnacle of the scariest thing. That was, there's always, every time I play, there's the fear of, harmonica players, unless they've got perfect pitch and never make mistakes, something like that. There are T-shirts made for harmonica players, like, what key? Because that's all we need. And guitarists, and certainly guitarists who lead bands, they just kick it off. 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's
true.
It's like,
excuse me.
Right.
What?
That's right.
What key? I could. My ear's pretty good. I can nail it pretty quickly most of the time, but every so often it's just like, no, that's not right. No, that's not it. Oh, maybe it's E. Nope, it's not E. Maybe F. No, that's it.
So now, and instead of playing a chromatic scale,
yeah. Go on.
I guess I won't even get into
that. That would be my. Now we're talking about my life. Yeah, instead of playing a chromatic harmonica, which is a totally different animal.
Completely.
I call the chromatic harmonica a mouthful of wrong notes.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
when I play it, that's all there is, baby. Because you can play every key, but you got to know.
Oh,
you got to know what
intense.
those keys are and shit.
It's
like
intense, yeah.
No, it's a mouthful of wrong notes for me. I don't mess around. With that. Not only that, with this mustache, you start pushing that button.
Oh my God! Yeah,
and,
pull it. Oh yeah. It'll just rip it right out.
Just swinging from on. Oh no, that's. Oh God, why?
You'll be screaming too while playing. So
you finish the set with just
blood
half
dripping.
a harmonica, bloody lip. Yeah.
Right.
That's my excuse, but no, I can't get my mind around that. And also, there are so many great chromatic harmonica players out there. Yeah. There are great diatonic players out there too, but that's too bad. I'm not going to give up the diatonic.
Well, we've gotta play together at some point.
Yes, when we've done it, It's always been a delight. It's always been in a
fun,
very
good,
intimate
yes.
setting,
Yes.
jazz brunch or something like that.
Well, I got to
It was
play
great.
more. My thing this year is to play more. So I started out doing a lot more gigs, and I'm writing more too because the next album is all originals. So, and it may and if I can get it together and finish writing these songs, I would love to have you play on one of the tunes.
Awesome.
That I
all right,
have,
so you
which
all
will need a
heard
chromatic
that.
scale.
You all heard that, right? So we have this.
Oh yeah, now it's
now
on.
it's
It's
on.
on.
It's
It's
on
on.
now.
It's on.
It's on.
It's on. Well, this was great. This was really wonderful.
lovely.
Thank you so much
total-
for doing
my
the show.
total pleasure.
Yeah.
And to all those who listen to this podcast, know that I send you peace and blessings and this positivity that hopefully you can get a glimpse of just this positive thing, this vibe that Veronica and I have, which is based on love and respect. And
Absolutely.
that's basically all you need.
And I love you too,
And
babe.
I
know
love
that
you
too.
too, baby. Seriously. Seriously.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for us on Tales from the Jazz Side.
Peace.
The jazz side is always there, waiting for us to enter and waiting to enter us. So, until next time, unplug your ear holes, for you never know what worlds may be waiting for you.